What's up, my ninjas? I am Strident, and I am back with a little review slash thoughts video. This time it is about Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. This series is crazy. It's easily one of my favorite animes of all time, and I'm not big on anime. I've been thinking about going through and doing like a top 5 or a top 10 list for you guys of the ones that I think are the best ever. And I don't know, I still might do it or not, but I figure, where would be a good place to start? Gurren Lagann is that place. The story centers around two guys, Kamina and Simone. They are diggers that live in a mining town underground. In the beginning, they don't reveal to you why they live underground, but towards I want to say, a couple episodes in, they get into detail and explain that to you. But pretty much, one guy is cool with the way things are. He's never known anything else. The other guy has heard about what's going on the surface, and he wants to go there. And it's crazy because, other people share Simone's view, where they've lived there their whole lives, and they don't really care about what's going on the surface, and they've gone their whole lives believing that nothing's going on up there. They don't even seem to ask questions. And it's kind of cool because in today's society, a lot of people just bandwagon blindly. So if someone was to tell you that, I guess the earth is flat, and that person didn't feel like, checking it out on Google something, Google anything, because Google pretty much tells you everything. Or if that person didn't bother to read any books or whatever and just took people's word for it, there you go. The world is flat to them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's an old explanation, but it still is applicable in this situation. So anyway, Kamina constantly talks about the surface. And as the situation would happen, something happens, and they end up going to the surface. They're attacked by a strange-looking mech from the surface. These mechs in this series are called gunmen, which I love because, my Joe's name is Gunsmith and his partner's name is Gunman. It just fits. From there, they meet Yoko. Now, a lot of anime have women that are thick and busty, but Yoko takes the cake. She is a sniper, dressed in hot pants, a bikini, boots, and she carries a huge sniper rifle. She is one of the finest chicks they've ever done in an anime. Ever, 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 ever. And it's consistent. And her attitude is as such that she's not a hoe, and she's kind of believable in how she treats the dudes the dude that she has feelings for. I'm going to try to keep things a little vague so that you guys can go and watch it. And, I don't want to spoil it for you, but man, after they meet her, the series just keeps getting better. Now, the theme that I want to constantly remind you, and you have to go into this series looking at this, is escalation and how will is everything. And how you have to question what people, you just need to question things that are kind of presented to you. Never just take something at face value. Question and try to explore more and figure out, is there more to it than what you were told? Is there more to life? Is there more to relationships? Is there more to combat? Is there more to, a job? And you'll see as you watch this series that is a theme that is constantly being explored throughout the entire thing. This series covers legacy. It covers misdirection, as far as like people being told things in order to keep them from doing something that fate would have them do anyway. It questions mankind's place in the universe. Now, a lot of people are anime fans, and they say that something really simple is epic. Like I see a lot of One Piece fans on on YouTube, and they say shit like, you know, when Luffy did blah blah blah, it was epic. When Luffy did this, it was epic. You know, and it wasn't like Luffy really did anything. I mean, he blew up his hand and it got real big, and he bitch slapped somebody. You know what I mean? And they're like, it's so epic. This series, by the end, you will understand what the concept of epic really is. I'm talking universe-shatteringly epic. This series is kind of what most of us that are in our 30s, when we moved to watching anime and we stopped watching regular, you know, cartoons, or we started to kind of add anime to our diet of Saturday morning cartoons and after school cartoons, we were looking for this kind of epic, because anime kind of introduced you to a whole new world of possibilities when it came to action, when it came to, you know, romance, when it came to, I don't know, philosophical questions that they try to, you know, explore in the animated format. Art styles. I mean, it just, everything was pushed, you know, and these days that's not so much what anime does, because anime is reaching critical mass. So much so that, like, some of the best studios are closing down. You're seeing animes parody other anime. You're seeing like an overabundance of the same types of anime because it sold well in this, you know, instance. You know what I mean? So when I was coming into this, I was like, this show looks kind of crazy, but I didn't really, I wasn't really buying it at first. So it took me 2 tries to watch it. I started watching it once on an overnight at my old job, and I got through the first 4 episodes, and then, you know, one thing or another happened, and I just never came back. And it wasn't that I wasn't impressed, because I have to say, this show, I'm a fan of mecha anime. Anything with mecha, I pay attention to. I have hundreds of mecha figures. I'm about to start up collecting the Soul of Chokogen, you know, figures, and I love mecha. I mean, that was what made me watch Sentai and most tokusatsu, and, you know, I love it since Jet Jaguar. Matter of fact, since Transor Z. Matter of fact, I can even go further. Since Hagus or Pegasus from Tekkaman, the Space Knight, it was like, okay, cool. Voltron, Transor Z. It keeps going and going and going. Gurren Lagann in this series, every version of Gurren Lagann is more epic than the last. This is one of those mecha that, like, they took the imagination that's been missing from a lot of anime and they injected it back in here, mixed with like a steroid cocktail or something, and like a freaking cocaine steroid shirk cocktail, and just blew your freaking frontal lobe right off the front of your face. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is crazy, and it's crazy in a way that's accessible. It's not overly violent. It's not overly sexual, although there are several innuendos, and Kamina, whew, that dude, he's got a mouth on him. But you care about the characters, so when they get into a situation, you're there. And then when they push the situation, when they push the drama, you know what I mean? They start amping it up. You're kind of like, shit, you know, you're really rooting for your characters. And then when it goes to the nth degree, you're like, holy shit, did I just see what I thought I saw? The characters that I want to focus on is, like I said, you have Simon. Simon is your typical Japanese boy that's going to pilot a mecha. You know, he's kind of a bitch when you first meet him, but he gets better, you know? It's kind of like he has low self-esteem, and because he has such low self-esteem, he doesn't really think twice about doing anything more than what he's told, you know? And he kind of takes life at face value. It's not until he meets Kamina that he kind of realizes that there has to be more, because there's this guy here who believes that there's more and who is telling people that he's seen this more. and Kamina sort of inspires growth in Kamina, personality-wise, as far as self-esteem goes. He starts to believe in himself because Kamina believes in him. And that's one of the themes that they show you in this, is that sometimes you can find strength in others believing in you. And it's one of the lines that he says constantly: don't believe in yourself, believe in me, believe in the Kamina that believes in you. The first time I heard that shit, I was like, this is some bullshit, Here they are spitting this backwards ass philosophy, But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, whoa, excuse me. That's actually not backwards ass philosophy. It's pretty slick. It's just worded strangely, and it probably sounds better in Japanese. Kamina. Kamina is a badass of a character. He's kind of that dumb country boy stereotype, He eats a lot. He fights really hard. He talks really loud. He doesn't have any manners. He just says what's on his mind. He offends people on the regular. But he's so brave that it's almost stupid. But it's admirable. And it's not your typical stupidity / bravery. This is more like you can clearly see that there is a goal in mind, and that it's not forced, is what I'm trying to say. He does an extremely good job in keeping the rest of the crew in line, and he just won't back down. You kind of get a chance to see through him. You hear about him. He's searching for his dad, pretty much, and you learn some stuff about his dad. I don't want to tell you much about what the plot is, but when he figures out what's going on and what his dad, what information his dad left for him, it pushes him towards one of the big changes in the story. Now, here's another thing about the story. The story starts in I think the series is like 2 seasons long. And I know it's 27 episodes, so I'm assuming it's like 2 seasons, roughly. And the first season takes place in like the present, and the second season takes place in the future. And it's freaking amazing. Super amazing. Now we need to go back to Yoko. Yoko is a bounty hunter. And for some reason, when I first saw her, she reminded me of one of the female characters off of Desert Punk. But I only watched 1 episode or 2 episodes of Desert Punk, and it just wasn't my thing. I didn't really like the designs, whatever. It just wasn't my shit. But she's an interesting character. At first, you think she's just one of those, like, Revy from Black Lagoon kind of knockoffs. But, as the series goes along, she's got more depth to her. And despite the fact that she's like running around in one of the skimpiest costumes, it's not. I guess at this point I shouldn't even point out that it's skimpy, but she's running around in a very skimpy outfit. Despite the fact that she's showing off all this that she's got, she's not really one of those chicks that's like way. How do you describe it? She's not overly outgoing like Mai Shiranui. You know what I mean? She's not throwing her boobs out all the time. She's not, showing off her body to everybody all the time. She's not stripping down half naked for fan service. It's just these are the clothes I guess she's comfortable in. And you start to see her more often, and it's kind of like, this is the costume that she wears. You know what I'm saying? But she's an awesome character. There's like I don't have anything to complain about with her. It's just nothing else to say about her character. She's just awesome. She's a very powerful, strong heroine, and it's interesting watching her work with or work off of Kamina and Simone. Now the mecha, the mecha in this series is ridiculous. The mecha were created by, I think they were created by Beastmen. And the thing about the gunmen is it comes from Ganmen, which is huge face. All the gunmen the design is a big face with arms sticking off of it. And some of them are absurd, some of them are badass, some of them are just weird. But pretty much it's like they took a face and then they added arms and legs to it, and then from that they evolve all the mecha designs. Gurren Lagann is two gunmen connected, you know. The smaller one is the one that goes to Simone, and that's the head. And Kamina has the larger one, which is the body. A drill comes out of the bottom of the head piece for the smaller one, or out of the like crotch piece. It's kind of weird. It's like a drill comes out of its ass and it connects to the other one. And when the drill connects, you see this spiral formation, because they talk about spirals a lot. Spiral energy, spiral beings, and there is a link to that in, you know, story-wise, why they use the symbol of the spiral so much. But anyway, they connect to other things, and then there you go. Now the thing about Gurren Lagann is with the drills, he can connect to anything. And as you see this go on and on and on and on, it's like, holy shit, why don't we have a video game of this yet? You know what I mean? Where we can test this stuff out and have a mech that connects to other things, and you get different combinations, you know, by usage of combining. I don't know. It would have been a good idea. Now, one of the things that they do is there are about, let me see, I think there's at least 5 or 6 versions of Gurren Lagann as the series goes on, and Tengen Toppa is the last one, the biggest and the most badass version, and you see him in the in the very last episode, and whew, like, it literally kicks the shit out of every other mecha you've ever seen, period. It's one of those things where, I mean, I don't know how to describe it to you. It's one of those things where once you see it, you're just like, holy shit. Holy shit. I think, what does it translate to? Tengen Toppa. Heaven-piercing Gurren Lagann. And literally, they're going to show you that mecha do just that. The art style, it's extremely kinetic. Characters are on model throughout the whole series, except for, I think, the 5th episode, or 5th, yeah, I think so. I think it's episode 5. It's kind of not, it's not. It's directed by a friend of the director, and it's not as good as the rest of the series as far as style goes. Characters are a little bit off model. It kind of reminds me of Kid Story from the Animatrix. You know, that kind of animation first, you know, drawing second kind of style. It's not horrible, because the story's kind of minimal. It's just, you know, it goes by quickly, so you don't have to really worry about that too much. But man, the art style is nice. The colors are beautiful. I mean, these cats knew their color. You're seeing combinations of color that help get you to think the proper moods, and whenever they talk power, you see it. You know, they use the right kind of hues to get you to feel heat and you know, cold and like electricity and light, intense light. They did little tricks that was purely color based. I mean, these guys knew their shit. Their art direction was spot on. Costume design. The costume design is wild in this. It's really wild. I mean, people are wearing all kinds of clothes. I mean, men don't wear shirts, and then they wear like these weird bustier things, and women are wearing bustier things and underwear and no pants and boots, and it's like superhero fetish costuming, if that makes any sense. But it looks cool. Most of it works. And since Team Gurren is they operate kind of like pirates, so to speak, because they jack stuff and then that just becomes theirs. They jack the gunmen's weapons because their gunmen can combine with anything. They kind of have that pirate feel as the series goes on, and you start seeing that in the way that the team dresses. They wear really weird, random pieces of clothing that kind of only work for pirates, if that makes any sense, you know? But it's good stuff, don't get me wrong. The designs are all original. There's a little bit of, what was that one? Captain Harlock, I think it is, in later designs in the series, and or what was the movie called? Interstellar 555, which also has that Captain Harlock slash My Youth in Arcadia kind of look. But just check it out and you'll see what I'm talking about. You know, the music in this series. There is a song called Libera. What is it? Libera Me from Hell, and it's freaking amazing. Except for the English that this Japanese rapper is trying to spit on top of this awesome song. I want a version of the song without the rapper because even though part of his rap is awesome, so much of his English is so bad it just pisses me off, you know. And he's trying to sound street, you know, trying to put that blackness to it, and it just is not quite working. But the overall effect of that song, especially when you're hearing it in the background of the awesomeness that happens at the end of this series, it's pure, just awesome tacity. It's freaking an epic win on Shirk. I mean, it just, I don't know, it's another level. These cats knew what they were doing. It's kind of like how Samurai Champloo managed to take hip-hop and inject it in a samurai, you know, Chambara style series, and it fit. It's kind of what they did here. So I think if you're a fan of music in anime, and you know, a lot of times music in anime kind of pushes the action or pushes the story, it helps accompany it. I mean, it always does in most stuff, but in this, it worked perfect. And it really pushes the epic scope and the emotion and everything perfectly. And like I said, this series is only 27 episodes. So it's not like you really have to, you know, devote a huge chunk of your time to watch these 27 episodes, you know. One day I went through half the series, and it gets to you, man, and then you just keep wanting to see more. And the more you see, the happier you get, because the show delivers. The comedy, there's a lot of comedy in here, but it does get heavy. And once it gets heavy, you're like, man, you know, and a lot of times that was my issue with a lot of anime, is that it goes from batshit crazy comedic to, like, you know, freaking super heavy, cradling a decapitated mom or something in your hands type crazy, and you're just like, what the fuck am I watching? This series, it jumps back and forth, but heavy in this series fits, you know? The comedy never gets so outrageous to the point where it's just plain stupid. It fits in this world that they've crafted. And they did a good job crafting a very realistic, well, not realistic, original world. Voice acting. I watched the series in Japanese, and then I turned around and I watched it in English. I actually like it better in English, because there is a line that in Japanese, it doesn't really sound the same. And in English, it sounds great. Anyone who's seen it, you already know what it is. I'm not going to give it away. I'm just going to let you watch it, and you'll know. You guys can hit me up in the messages and put the line that I'm talking about. It's freaking awesome. It's Kamina's catchphrase. And then it becomes Simon's catchphrase. And it will become the catchphrase of this series, because it fits perfectly. The combat with these mecha is amazing. It's so creative that you just can't complain. Some of the shit's laughable because the situations that the gunmen are in, there's one gunman in particular that fires something from a certain part, and it's kind of like, wow, you really went there. But it fits, you know, it fits. So overall, Gurren Lagann delivers on every single level. There's not one thing I can complain about with this series. The whole spiral theme is awesome. The drilling theme, the drill weapon, the whole way that spirals and drills, everything plays into everything in this story. And they did a great job doing that. So much better than a lot of the stuff. For some reason, a lot of the American things that I've been watching, they've been doing a decent job. But, you know, like, I just saw The Dark Knight the other night. Well, about a week or two ago when I put up the review. And, you know, there were so many holes. You watch this series, and not only do they jump forward several years, they wrap up that first half, and then they completely wrap up the second half. And they wrap it up to the point where there is no way for you to be like, what the fuck? I mean, they tell you, they I don't know, they just don't leave any loose, you know, ends. And, you know, that's appreciated because I was paying close attention because the series is so good. So, I don't know. Check this anime out. There's supposed to be 2 movies. I haven't seen the 2 movies. I plan on getting them soon, and I will review those too. But, you know, in case you were looking for an anime to watch that's, you know, definitely the spirit of epicness, the total picture of epicness, this is that anime. You have come to the right place. You will not be sorry that you checked out this anime. So anyway, I'm Strident. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And that's it for me. You guys have been great. I will be back with another review later. Peace, people.